time in Edinburgh. It has finished Scotland 26, Ireland 19.
Dave, Grace, thanks very much. So, drama to the end. I mean, what a brilliant contest throughout. Not the result Ireland wanted, to say the very least. Eimear, what was the winning and, I suppose, from an Irish perspective, the losing of that game?
Yeah, I suppose there was so many personnel changes in the first half. We thought they'd come out in the second half and, I suppose, rectify a lot of the structural mistakes around, set piece and around, I suppose, there's too many mistakes. Ireland made too many mistakes in general, but also we were unstructured when we needed structure. There was quite a lot of, I suppose, it's trying to put our finger on one point. We were soaking a lot of the tackles, so Scotland were making easy meters that other teams have failed to do. Our defensive line, we struggled with the fold and getting our numbers up and getting that line speed. We missed a significant amount of tackles compared to what we talked about before the game around how their defence was so good. But I suppose it's that you need players to learn to play together and gel together, and there was a lack of cohesion in general.
Certainly cohesion, yeah, I think Joe as well. And Eimear spoke it. I think we saw a stat at one stage. It was 28 tackles made, 18 missed. We chatted about defence before, and don't get me wrong, it has been absolutely brilliant. But for some reason, I think today off the line we were a bit slow, we were a bit lethargic, and then far, far too narrow and far too static in how we attacked.
Because first half, I mean, Ireland was sort of sucker punched by the poor try just before the break, and the Scots had the other try as well. But otherwise, it was like domination from an Irish perspective. Even at half-time, 12-7 down, you felt relatively calm, but
yeah,
maybe they just lost one player too many as well, frontliners.
It was I think too many leaders were lost, but also too many key decision makers were lost as well. Like even at the end there with yes, we were dominating the scrum, but Scotland were very clever. They were wearing down the clock, knowing that Ireland only had 10 minutes to get 2 tries, and we didn't have enough time to get 2 tries. They were smart with the way that the Scotland managed it, and like they have an experienced pack. The number of caps they have in that pack and in the backline, they're experienced, and they managed the game a whole lot better than we managed the game. And the way we finished the first half with not kicking it out when we should have, the way that we got held up when we shouldn't have got held up. How do we manage having an extra player when Scotland were down to 14 on 2 occasions?
Yeah,
you have to take your hat off to Scotland as well, Joe. As well, we talked about them giving a performance. I think they gave it, especially in that second half today as well.
Yeah, they did, and you could see them realise somewhere in that game they were like, we're on here. They could sense it. And
that's the thing with these teams. If you give a team a sniff at home, Ireland were favourites going into the game at half time, you would have said yes, you'd looked at possession. But as the game progressed in the second half, they were saying, look, hold on a minute, Ireland aren't up to much, we're well able to defend them, and our attack, our kicking game, how we're getting down the field is much better than we have been in previous games. So I think you could slowly see, as you said, Joe, their confidence building, and they weren't afraid to attack Ireland, and Ireland weren't chopping them, so they were getting gain line.
Given that Aoife Wafer was injured, Aaron King was injured, I understand Scott Beeman's desire to try and get a few new players in there ahead of a World Cup, and that stands, but he probably took a slight risk given they were missing a few already and you're away from home.
Yeah, we were speaking about this before the game around how maybe the Welsh game was the game to try and do this. Scotland are always hard to play against. We've proven today that it's a sloppy game, it's messy, I don't know, is it a mental thing or a physical thing against Scotland? But maybe the Welsh game was the game to maybe try this, because I suppose just given the record against Wales and how we've played against Wales in the past, there was a lot of, I suppose, changes made anyway, and then some unforced changes that with injuries and with HIAs today that didn't help our case. You have to try things, but I suppose there's a time and a place. I suppose he looked at today knowing that the 3rd place position is almost guaranteed, barring a really major upset in Italy. Italy going out and losing by an awful amount of points today. So I suppose there's a safety net around the 3rd place position, but we're not looking for 3rd place at this stage. We're looking for a win against Scotland.
I mean, look, Scotland have 2 wins this campaign, Ireland have 2 wins, so it feels a little bit disappointing.
It does, and it's about building up for that World Cup, and you have to focus on that last game in particular, because that's what's going to kick off how you're approaching that World Cup, and especially those warm-up games. So a little bit disappointing, I think.
Yeah, OK.